I'm doing good, thanks, Brad. Obviously, making a big move to a place like Jackson Wink, you want to be able to get to the level here. So the fact that you did make that leap and now you're here, just what's that like to kind of see the culmination of all that?
It's natural, man. I've been there for multiple years, so I think it's like 3 years now. So, I've been evolving, training with the best guys in the world from all different weight classes. So, I'm not surprised to be here. That gym breeds champions, and now I'm fighting for my first world championship.
hmm And I know back in Buffalo, you trained with Solomon Renfro too, who's coming off a big win too. Were you able to catch his most recent victory? I believe it was the first finish of his career.
Yeah, man. Me and Salman's like a little brother to me, man. I FaceTimed him yesterday. I was watching his fight live with all my people from Jackson Wink. He's like really like family to me. So, yeah, I did watch him, and I'm very proud of him. I know how well he's going to do in his career, and I believe in him more than, just as much as I believe in myself, should I say.
Yeah. And when you look at a guy like Juan, obviously he's very well rounded, but where do you feel like, maybe is the weakest part of his game?
Um, I don't think he has any weak parts of his game, man. I just think I'm better than him everywhere. So, if I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think he has any weak parts of his game, but I think I'm better than him everywhere. I think he's better at wrestling and striking than he is maybe necessarily at grappling, though. So if I had to nitpick at one thing, it'd probably be that.
Steve?
All right, Patrick, thank you and appreciate the time today. A little over a year ago, you made your Bellator debut, and now here you are fighting for the vacant bantamweight title. So what does that mean to you to have come up in the organization so fast?
I'm proud of it. I've come up in every organization I've ever been in this fast. I'm a belt collector. Previously, I was in the King of the Cage promotion, and I ran through everybody I've ever fought there. Prior to that, I think I fought in Prodigy. Prior to that, I was an amateur in the Fighter Source tournament. I ran through everyone there. So, ever since I was an amateur, I've been doing this. So I'm not surprised, but I'm grateful and honored to have the opportunity to display my skills. And like I said, I'm 6 minutes in the promotion. That's a third of the time from my opponent's last fight. You know what I mean? And look where I'm at. So, I'm putting in work, and it's all going to come to fruition on Saturday night when I beat Juan Archuleta.
You're definitely putting in work, and that work has obviously reaped the benefits here with this title shot. But there have been a lot of different names talked about for that title shot. Sergio Pettis has been mentioned as well. So at what point did you know it was going to be you and Juan Archuleta?
To be honest with you, I got a call previously to July 24th, and my manager said it was set in stone. But the only way those guys are going to get a title shot over me is just because they're names, If you look at our body of work, man, who's doing it like that? Like me, you know what I mean? It's crazy to think that anyone would be mentioned over me. I think I'm the number one seed if it were a tournament, So I think I got the call like maybe May or something or June, and that it was going to be official for me and Juan. And then we were going to fight, and that's the fight they were going to look at. And then over the next few weeks, it then became official, finding a date, a venue, all that, because COVID was still going on.
Well, I guess that's my last question for you, actually, is how much has COVID changed the way you train for a world title fight?
COVID has not changed any part of my training at all. I've been to Jackson Wink. We've been working in smaller groups, but the smaller groups that I work with are all the training partners that I necessarily would work with anyway. So there's just not a lot of stragglers on the mat. You know what I mean? Other guys that are in like not as high level. So I guess it hasn't really changed anything. And it's actually made me better because it made me build a facility back home for myself. And the one thing that you can do is if you isolate me, I come out better than ever. So I've had to be a little bit more isolated in smaller group sessions and with not as many eyes in the room. So I feel like it's let me improve, and it's let the coaches have more individual work with me. And I think it's made me a lot better of a fighter and a lot better of an athlete, especially mentally.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing how that plays out on Saturday night. Good luck.
Thank you.
Hi, Patrick. Thanks for the time today.
Anytime, man. I appreciate it.
So, as you mentioned earlier, you believe that you're better everywhere than Juan Archuleta, and he's primarily known for his striking, and you're primarily known for your grappling. So, I'm wondering, are you going to try and play to your strength, or do you really want to test yourself against the striking pedigree to prove that you are, in fact, better everywhere?
No, man, I don't necessarily just call myself a grappler. I guess they just named me that because I finish people on the ground. I could fight standing up as well. And, it just so happened that no one's been able to stuff a takedown. So, I don't mind wherever the fight goes. I don't need to prove myself just because he's a striker, I think I'm already the better striker anyway. So, wherever the fight goes, wherever it plays out, I just plan on dragging him to hell, man. No matter where it goes, I plan on engaging and fighting. So to me, it does not matter if we stay standing up for 25 minutes or if we hit the mat in the first minute. I'm ready just to go fight him. And I'm going to let my fighting prove that I'm better than him everywhere.
Right. And throughout your entire career, you've been known for your activities. You do fight a lot. But as we've seen with these fighters before who become champion, their activity seems to drop off a little bit. So I'm wondering, are you planning to be an active champion and how many times do you want to defend your belt per year?
3 times a year at least, man. I want to fight 3 times a year if I got the title, especially because it's a longer fight. I used to pride myself on fighting 4 times a year. I did it my whole career. But 3 times would be a little better because, you have those extra 2 rounds of damage, but I want to be an active champion, right here, when I win on Saturday night, I'd like to defend it in 2020 here and keep the ball rolling. I've only fought on New Year's of last year, basically. So with COVID going on, I want to fight here, put this guy away, and then I want to get back out there. You know what I mean? I want to stay active.
Yeah, and before this, your fight was in the cross-promotion event with Resigning. And I'm wondering, how different is it even though you weren't really a Resigning fighter for the night, you were still fighting under their banner with the co-promotion. So how different is it the way that they do things compared to Bellator?
It's a lot different, man. You have way more fans. That arena's huge. The crowd doesn't make any noise. And I fought underneath a completely different rule set. I made 134 pounds instead of 135. And I'm one of the guys that brought themselves over there. I think, in the uncomfortable, I don't know if any Bellator people have ever won in the Resigning ring either. I think Darian Caldwell fought there and then John Macapa. So, and they were both unsuccessful. So, I did it differently. I put the guy away in 90 seconds. And since then, that guy's been on a 2-fight win streak. So it's a lot different. And for that night, I was a Resigning fighter, being underneath the rule set, being in the square instead of the cage, instead of the circle, should I say. It's just a lot different. And, it was a good night for me.
Hey, Patchy, I wanted to follow up on something that Steve actually asked earlier. So when you re-signed with Bellator in April, you had no expectation of a title shot. Were you thinking maybe you'd have to fight 1 or 2 more times before the belt?
Well, I re-signed with them actually after my fight last October and last October and the Mohegan Sun, actually, as a matter of fact. And then I got the opportunity to go to Resigning. So with the win in Resigning, I definitely did feel I deserved the title shot, and I didn't know if it would be next, but the only way like I said earlier, if it wouldn't be next is just the names, because these guys are a little bit more well known to the casual fans, but the diehard fans know who's putting in work. They know who's who's the hunter, man, and that's me. So I was just hoping Bellator would honor that. And as they did, man, and I have the best manager in the game, Ali Abdelaziz, man. He worked everything out for me, and he really got me this title shot, so I'm very thankful for that. And, it wasn't that I wasn't that unaware, though. I feel like it was well-deserved.
And this is both a major title shot for you, obviously, and your first time headlining a Bellator card, something you've obviously worked for a while, right up through King of the Cage, like you mentioned. Now that you've arrived, so to speak, are you able to take it all in and really appreciate it and enjoy it?
Man, it doesn't feel like anything different than any other fight I've ever been in, I guess, man. It's just another fight. I've done this 24 times. This is just my 25th, so it doesn't feel any different, especially without fans. It just feels like almost even smaller, because it's there's no crowd, you know what I mean? There's no hype behind it. Normally I'm used to going to weigh-ins like MSG and you get the energy, you know what I mean? And my last fight, I fought in front of 43,000 people at the press conference. There was like 1,000 people at, the weigh-in, stuff like that. So it doesn't feel any different, man. I don't feel any added pressure, should I say. It just feels like a walk in the park for me, like with all that stuff, and then feels almost easier. It's more relaxing for me. I feel like, to be able to just go out there and do it this way. COVID championships, that's what we're calling it.
Hi, Patrick. You last year you fought 4 times, quick finishes, 2 all in the first round. Just what do you attribute that to? Is it more work you're putting in training camp, or was it advice you got throughout that time?
Yeah, just putting in training camp properly, man. Training to my best of my ability, and like I said, never overlooking anyone, man. I think I just, I look at each challenge individually. I don't ever look over anyone. I kind of just I prepare for that set person each and every time. So I think it attributes to that in my mindset, being mentally strong and mentally tough, I think that's the most important thing. And that's what my coaches have taught me, and I have all my coaches here with me that have brought me up. And, that's the one thing that really I attribute that is to my coaching and just my discipline and my training camps.
And final question for me, who have been some of the fighters you worked the most with during this camp, and how have they influenced your preparation for this fight?
Just another camp, man. It's not just about my training partners, but my coaches. I work with Greg Jackson, Mike Wink, Six Gun Gibson, Harry St. Ledger, Barata. I have so many coaches like that. And then also my training partners. I train a lot with John Dodson, Landon Venata. Did a little bit of time with Cerrone at the ranch, Pico, Edwin Cooper. It's just a multitude of guys, man. Diego Brandao has been a really, really good training partner this camp too. Just all those guys, and then all the guys back home too. From I got Solomon Renfro, Sean Felton, Jeff Dents, G-Dot, Afro Pat. All my guys, man. So. A lot of them they're not the biggest names, but I want to give them some respect and some clout too, because without them, I wouldn't be in this position I'm in.
Thank you. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Hey, Patchy. One of the big things, has been like the Black community being affected by the passing of Chadwick Boseman, the passing of Kobe Bryant. How have you been affected by that? And, how do you plan on, showing support?
Yeah, man, it's been a real sad time this year, 2020, man. It's depressing to see, man, because, I'm a big fan of Kobe. I was actually in California when it all I was watching the Cyborg fight that weekend. So when it all kind of happened, I seen like the area, was devastated. So, it was heartbreaking to see. And then same with Chad. I was going to try to come out with a Wakanda flag on Saturday night, but I couldn't get it delivered here in time to honor him and show some respect. But, it's affected definitely the Black community and myself, as well as a lot of people I know. So it's very sad. And I'm hoping to, give him a little Wakanda action on Saturday night when I win, just like I did after the Ricky Bandejas fight.
All right. So Juan Archuleta said that, hey, if he wins the title, that he will welcome Koji Horiguchi back into the cage to defend the belt. Are you also willing to defend the belt against the former champ?
Yeah, man, I'm willing to defend the belt against anyone that Bellator wants to put against me. Once I get this title on Saturday night, which I will, I'm going to be, the guy that has a target on his back. Everyone wants that gold. So there's a long list of guys and long list of contenders in this division that are very valiant for that title shot. And I think Sergio Pettis actually has the next shot. So if Sergio wants it, I would entertain that. But if Horiguchi wanted it, I would also entertain that because, he did vacate the belt. And, I can respect the move he made because, there hasn't been a champion here since he's vacated it last year. And now we're getting the opportunity to fight for it. So either one of those two fights first, and then there's a long list of contenders, you know, that are really chomping at the bit to get up here. So I want to put those guys down too.
All right. Thanks, Patchy. Looking forward to seeing your fight.
Anytime, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Giancarlo?
Oh, sorry, I already asked my questions.
I will take one more from
Hey, Patrick. When you see a guy like Juan with all this experience, you know, he's 24-2, he's 32 years old, and you're on this fast track to stardom, and you know, you're undefeated. How do you keep a level mindset? You know, when you're yet to taste defeat, and you know you're going through a camp. Do you like to do anything to focus and like zero in on you know, all distractions and take away all that from a camp?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand it. What'd you say?
So when you have a guy like Juan, you know, he's 24-2, he has some more fights than you, but yet you're 13-0 and undefeated. When you're 27 years old, when you're going through like camps and all that and distractions, what do you feel is like the biggest difference in terms of where you're at in your career versus him being 32 years old, and having, you know, a little bit more experience?
Juan doesn't have any more experience than me. He just didn't have an amateur career. If you look and see when we both started fighting, I think I almost made my debut before him or just right around the same time. Just that I'm from New York and we had to accumulate amateur fights, and I fought the hardest amateur fights. I also have 24 wins, but I just have 0 losses. So I don't think he has any more experience than me. He's just a little more hyped because of the people that he's around. And that's it. Where I'm at my career is just as experienced as him, and I'm just as well trained as him. I'm trained around the best fighters, and I'm always in training camp. So where I'm at my career, I plan to show that I'm just more experienced, more well-rounded. I have a higher fight IQ, and I'm just the overall better fighder, you know, even though our age, you know, even the disparity in our age, you know. The only thing that he has on me is maybe that years, and the thing I have on him is called youth.
Yeah. And do you look to impose your own game plan, or are you like looking at film of his and looking at his, you know, reactions and his fight style, or do you just look to impose your own game plan?
No, I mean, I watch and see his tendencies and stuff like that. I actually don't. My coaches watch and see his tendencies, and then they train me as such. But you know, I don't plan on like pre-thinking anything prior to going into the fight. My fight IQ will do that for me. When I get in the fight, I just trust my reactions, and I trust that I can beat him in any facet of the game of MMA, you know? I don't think like I need to grab a hold of him and get him down, you know? Or I don't think I need to like pressure him and put him against the cage, and that's the only way, you know? I feel like my fight IQ mixed with my experience and my dedication to my training will let me adapt to whatever happens in there. And that's how I would go earn my finish or earn the way I dominate, you know?
Thank you.
Anytime. Thank you.